record on this computer.
Continue.
So we had talked about, you know, starting to do some trainings and these mastermind meetings, and I had a great conversation with Dr. Webb last week or this week about what she's doing, which I'd like her to, you know, definitely talk about her blog, and she's just come a long way since I met her. So if you don't know Dr. Webb, why don't you tell us a little bit, bring us
Sure.
up to speed here.
So let me just summarize it very succinctly. This is my 62nd year beginning October on the planet, at least this go around. And that's supposed to be a joke, but I'm serious too.
I believe it.
I came to this world through a 13-year-old who regrettably had been abused at least since the age of 5. And I went into that same environment and then ultimately was taken out by the age of 3, was in foster care, was homeless for a short spell, and ultimately recognized throughout my childhood that I was responsible for myself, not the adults who were around me who had me because I brought in resources from the state, but really I was responsible for my safety. And that's a whole nother conversation. And so I heard when I was in high school that if you go to college, there's housing. And I was concerned that I'd be aging out of foster care soon. Certainly I would complete high school and I wouldn't belong to anybody and I would be homeless again. So I decided to go on to a university. I didn't know what that meant. I had no clue. And it was one of the many best decisions I've made in my life because it really saved my life. It caused me to begin to read. And when I read, because I wanted to be successful at the university, I didn't want to lose that housing. And I was working full time. I wasn't slowing down to assess my circumstances, that I was actually paying for my housing. I didn't need the university, but thank goodness I wasn't thinking that clearly. So as I'm reading to understand and I'm getting tutoring so that I can be successful, because I didn't think I was a well-prepared student, which I wasn't, but I was better prepared than I thought I was. So I'm really experiencing this, what appears to be an out-of-body experience, but I was actually going deep and deeper and deeper. And I began to triangulate all these different subject matters, whether it was history with biology, with psychology, with sociology. And I was like, whoa, there's this interrelationship among all of them. Why are they separate, different disciplines? And I went from survival mode that was really powerful to, wow, I can design the life that I want to experience. So my mind transformed. It was powerful. And so I tell you that experience. I didn't tell you all the details. I tell you that experience because education was not about earning a degree. Yes, I've gone on to earn a PhD degree from the University of California at Berkeley. I've gone on to become a college president. I've gone on to build my business, which is Signature Solutions Corporate Results. Yet fundamentally, what the learning process caused me to do was to shift my mindset, to open up my heart. And I mention mind and heart because of the power of the heart-mind connection. I don't know if you're familiar with Heart Math Institute. If you're not, check it out and check out their actual research. There's something powerful that's being shared with us because of the work of scientists and many other individuals who are not scientists, but they're brilliant individuals, or at least they're allowing their inherent genius, which we all have, to be reflected in their thinking about the capacity and the potential of human beings. So why mind, why heart? Mind, there's at least 2 aspects of our mind. Most of us know we have an intellectual mind, right? That's our thinking mind. That's our where we have cognition, where we have a sense of knowing based upon what we've read, what we've studied, what we've been exposed to. That's our thinking mind. It's not an emotional mind. Then there's another part of our mind that scientists are even much more concerned about and interested in, and that's the emotional mind. And for basic purposes, I have a visual I might share in a second, but there's a powerful aspect of that emotional mind. I don't know if most people know that, but 95 to 99% of what you and I do across this planet is driven by the emotional mind. And so when people say, get over it, you're just too emotional, they've missed the point. The reality is, we're all driven primarily by that emotional mind. And that really is connected to the heart connection. The heart, we know, actually sends out more signals than the brain does. Did you know that? And that, what's so critical about that is the heart is understood to actually be influencing the mind more than the mind, the heart. So when we understand that the degree to which we get connected with the self and understand the power of our feelings and decide using the cognitive factor, our intellectual faculties that we have to influence that emotional mind, the heart connection, we become the powerful beings that I think we were designed to be. Okay? I think the child comes here all knowing, ready, free from, unencumbered by nonsense. And then we as elders, as individuals, as society, we reshape them into something, and they're no longer that pure, open, powerful being. They're contrived, they're formed, and now all of a sudden they're functioning like the average of us. The power of us is to remember that we are unique. Yes, we're 99.9% almost identical biologically, but it's the essence of who we are that makes us more unique, not just the skin tone, which is beautiful. You know, all of our skin tones have gorgeous capacity, short of when we bring in all the societal nonsense of because you're black, you're wrong, you're white, you're right, you're Asian, you must be smart, all these nonsensical stuff. All of us have brilliance. When we understand at the core that brilliance has the capacity to transform not only our lives, our families' lives, society lives, all lives. So let me get to some key points. I am so appreciative of the education that I've got, that I continue to educate. I have at least 1,000 books. These are just a small segment. And I've got a bunch of books here. And there's a reason why I've kind of stacked them up here, because I want to encourage all of us to find some of what we call the secrets of life in these seminal books. And they become no longer secrets. They're individuals who are doing exceptionally well from our own perspective, not only economically, business-wise, with their families being healthy, they're in leadership roles, organizing groups of people in villages, they're running corporations. Why? They're using the same basic set of leadership practices. They're aware. They've got a particular attitude. They are using knowledge, not only their own knowledge, the knowledge of other people, the historical knowledge that comes from a book that was written back in 1910. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Walters. You know how many books, over hundreds of books have been written based upon this 1910 or 1907, whenever it was written, it was published in 1910. This little book holds the secret of what helped to inform Think and Grow Rich, helped to inform the laws of success, and so many other books. Read this book, and it's going to remind you of the power of mindset, your thinking, the power of literally aligning the mind with the heart. It's not new. It drove me to do more than what I was told to do. I was told I wouldn't live to the age of 20. Here I am, in a few months, I'll be 62. And they were right based upon what they saw biologically, scientifically, medical doctors. They were wrong because they never attempted to have a conversation with that child. whose dream, whose imaginings was far beyond what anyone reasonably could imagine. The same thing happened with, what is his name? Weldon Long, with the power of consistency. That man was on death row. And even he said he deserved to be on death row. But he read something and was inspired. And then he transformed his life overnight. And he transformed the nature of fear, which we're told, kind of get over it and think of fear as false expectations appearing real. Well, let's be clear. People are fearful for a reason. If you're hearing gunshots and you're in a drug-infested environment, if you witnessed your parents be harmed, there's fear for a reason. But what he did is he took the fear that drove him to engage in criminal activity that led him to death row. He twisted it. He turned it around. He called F in fear, faith, focus. He called E in fear, emotional, commitment. He called A, action, and R, responsibility. He took responsibility for what he did, leaving his wife and child, saying, I want to apologize to her, and I want to ask for forgiveness. He took the responsibility for negating his son and said, I want to get out of here and take care of my son. Be that responsible man. And you know what? He was on death row. He had a date certain to be extinguished by the state. Somehow, this man not only got out, he exceeded all of his expectations. Yes, he had to work hard, and he was honest from that point forward. He told people, yes, I was in prison, I was on death row, and I deserve to be there. I'm out, and I decided to change my life. Please forgive me. And everything that he wanted to accomplish, he achieved and more. And then it led to this book, The Power of Consistency. Powerful. But here's the deal. The secret that led to his success is no different than what is leading to the successes of many of individuals, including those of you who are here and those of you who are going to see this recording later on. The power is within us. I said awareness, I said attitude, I said knowledge, I said paradigm. What is paradigm? Each one of us lives in a paradigm. Sometimes we share it with many others. And I say that there's a paradigm for different countries. And within that paradigm, there are micro paradigms. The key thing is, what paradigm do you want to live in? What kind of environment in terms of belief system, in terms of multitude of habits, in terms of effects on the actions towards others, in terms of the kinds of predictable results do you want to experience? So here's what I do. I am a coach. Some people refer to me as a success coach. Others refer to me as an executive coach. My team, we provide strategic planning, we provide master planning. We do a number of things for small and large organizations, public and private, corporations, nonprofit. And we do it well so that they say during a time like this, not only do we value you, we want more of you. While they're saying to some consultants, we're sorry, we don't have enough money. And how do you make yourself so invaluable to an organization? You give them what they need and what they ask for that actually complements your integrity, your understandings, your talents. And then if you don't have what they need, you make it very transparent to them. You don't have it, but you can get it. Or you don't have it and you'll help them get what they need. Make yourself indispensable. And that's the essence of what's in the Science of Getting Rich. It's change the mindset. And it's deciding what it is that you want to become competent in, becoming competent, making transparent what value you add, and making yourself indispensable. Okay, so I want to go back to this mind, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. And I think, can I share something, Joe?
Sure, I'll have to make you a co-host.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think this visual, because we're not all of us are are auditory learners. We're visual learners. We like to touch things, right? I see Laura smile and Patty smile, you know. So we need more than just hearing.
I'm kinesthetic. I gotta
You're
do.
kinesthetic. You like to just take it apart and put it together. Well, you know, I can send you a copy of my PowerPoint so that you can play it with it.
Thank you.
Okay. So I want to share something with you, and
You should be able to share now.
okay, great. And let me know if this comes through clearly. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a program that I work with some of my clients on. They find it invaluable, and it's called Thinking into Results. Well, we won't go into the details of that. What we'll go into the details in terms of illuminating one of the major forms that are used. I don't know if folks know about this chiropractic doctor who was around in the 30s, Dr. Thurman Fleet. And this gentleman had, he could have had 300 to 500 clients a day. He was that popular and that effective. And what he did was he helped his clients by creating what we call the stick person. And now we call it a secret genie. And so for the purposes of just this exercise, we've got this big round circle at the top representing the head, the mind, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the smaller circle representing the body. Now we know the mind is more than just what's in the head. Okay, the mind, especially in terms of its energetic, where it locates is within every cell of the body. It also vibrates outside the body. We know that scientifically. And so we don't even know where the mind is really situated, just like we don't know where the spirit is situated. And we don't know the interconnectedness of the two, but we know that they're inherently related. So, but for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to walk through this. And I want you to be thinking about a thought, a feeling, an emotional mind, actions, and results. I want you to think of thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. What we think, as long as we connect it with our feelings, it's going to drive our actions, and we're going to get particular results. Now, let me say this. If our thoughts, our mindset is exactly what we want it to be because it leads to the results that we want, don't change. Yet if we're not getting the results that we want, we need to change our mindset. You can change your action, but if you've not changed the mindset and the feelings that go with that, the actions are going to go right back. It's just habits. It's part of our paradigm. Okay? So, and to change a habit, some people say it takes a minimum of 3 to 6 months, a minimum of 10,000 transactions that's in a different direction, that shifts us out of the old set of habits into a new set of habits. Whatever the amount of time it is, just remember, you want to deliberately focus daily on that new habit, whatever new habit you want to engage in daily. And before you know it, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, you're doing it and you don't even think about it. It's like shifting where you get off the bed. You get off the bed on the right side or the left side. You want to shift because your mate is on the other side and he or she wants to shift. Well, just do it. But you be careful because you're going to find yourself going right back to where you were before. You have to consciously decide that, or you're going to have some problems in that relationship. I'm giving a simple example. I'm trying to make a joke and I'm not doing a good job at it. But anyway, okay. So here's this visual. Let's go to this slide. Can you see this? The transmutation process, the developing person. Each one of us is developing. And if we're fortunate, I don't care what age we are, we're still growing. Because I think fundamentally that's what life is about. It's about growth. And it's also about contributing in whatever way we deem meaningful. Hopefully it's additive. And we don't have to be altruistic in nature to be additive, to add to life. But contributing is invaluable. So the conscious mind, that top mind that you see there, that visual to the far left, basically is where we have particular tools. But short of having a well-developed conscious mind, as an infant, as a 6-month-old, etc. We're using our sensory tools. We see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. We get a sense of the world as a result of that. And because of the feedback that we get from tasting, from touching, from smelling, etc., it drives our behavior a particular way. Before we know it, we're 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. We don't even know why we react a certain way to a particular smell. It was based upon that early development. Short of change, we will continue to do that. Conscious mind, that's the thinking mind. The lower part of that round circle is the unconscious mind. I already mentioned it's the part of it's our emotional mind. Then go back to that conscious mind, what we think is basically inductive reasoning. It's our logical mind. It's where we make decisions. And again, remember, 95 to 99% of what we do is based upon the subconscious mind. It's powerful. That's our deductive reasoning. We feel it, it must be so. Okay? So people make decisions. We know across the US alone, and I will imagine across the world, people are making decisions every day. It just feels right. I think it's my intuition. Well, actually, your intuition is your intellectual mind. There's a distinct difference. Most people think, well, if it's intuition, it must be feeling. Well, it's actually a higher level intellectual faculty. So let's go into the next one. Think, dream, feel emotions. Those in combination lead to a particular vibration in the body. And Laura, you were talking about energy. This is consistent with what you were talking about before we began to capture this on video. That vibration leads to our behavior, leads to a result, and the environment then responds, then ultimately ends up reinforcing what we feel, and then we redo, and before we know it, that habit is just circular. Until and unless we change our thinking and the feeling associated with that, the vibratory pattern in our body remains the same, and we continue to produce the same results. Think about yourself. Think about people you know. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I've got this major goal I'm going to achieve this year. I've decided it's my New Year's resolution. And then 6 months later, a year later, they didn't accomplish it because they did not do what? Two key things. They didn't feel it. They didn't own it. They didn't get emotionally committed to it.
That's
okay? That's one. And two, they didn't change habits. And habit not just for a month. So if you get off your priority habit change, where you do it for 30 days and then stop, you need to restart again, like it's day one, until it becomes normal. Then the results occur. People, it's like during the Deep Depression, and given the number of people who are without jobs right now, it's another depression. Let's be clear. We're calling it all kinds of things. It's a depressive state right now for too many of us. Even if we're in a great stead, whatever that means financially, family-wise, etc., because so many are not, we are not fully. Okay? Where goes the least of us really is me, from my humble perspective. So wherever we're at, when we hold on to that emotional state there and said, I'm going to plow through this, I'm going to make things happen, but the emotional state is in this distress condition, and the conditions are real, we're not going to shift. So we have to change the emotional state. And I've got another book here. Yes, I do read a lot of books. This is a great book. Stella Adler was one of the most remarkable teachers. She was an actress. She was remarkable teachers of actors, some say on the planet, but certainly in this hemisphere. And she didn't write a book, but someone took all of her lessons and put it in that book. And the whole point of my reading it is to remind me and encourage my clients to remember that they have the capacity, like actors, to remove themselves from the external reality, place themselves in a completely different conscious reality, and transform the nature of the results. That's what you're doing. You're not negating the fact that around you, there's real distress. And even in your household, there may be real distress. But what you're doing is you're choosing to change your mindset and the emotions assigned with those new perspectives, goal, priority, dream, aligning it, and then creating a new habit that allows you to move, not wavering. You're not negating loved ones who are having distress. You're saying, I'm focusing so I can help us get through to the other side. Whether that is building a business, whether that is bringing in new clients, whether that is transforming the nature of a neighborhood. We hold the power. It's never outside of ourselves. Never has been, never will be, humbly speaking. These are the mental tools to the far right. You probably have already read them. Memory, perception, will, imagination, reason, intuition. Those are our intellectual faculties. Those are the tools that we use to change what's happening at the emotional level. Because that emotional level was not created overnight. And it's powerful. And we want it to be powerful. We want it to be powerful in a way that gets us a different set of results, that allows us to take our corporation to the next level, that allows us to take our business, small business, to the next level. We want to bring in and employ people so that they have meaningful opportunities. What allows us to do that? There's a gentleman in Seattle, I can't think of his name, and I wish I could. I'd like to give him kudos. He took his business, and maybe one of you online know this guy. Young man, I don't even think he's 40 years old. He may be. And he created this opportunity, almost like a combination of credit card, bank, or something, a software tool, platform. And he was earning $1.4, $1.5 million a year. And his staff were earning somewhere between 40 and 70,000 a year, and if 70, but primarily around 40,000 and maybe even lower. And he found that one of his clients was thinking that not clients, a staff person was having a great day, and the guy basically gave him some feedback that shocked him at his core. And the feedback was basically, I'm paraphrasing not wonderfully, but well, if I was making your money, I'm sure I'd be having a good life, but I'm having a difficult life. I'm hardly making it. Then he had another employee that he found out was having to get another job, and she didn't want him to know because she loved this job and she didn't want to lose it. So he decided at different points he was going to change things up. And without going through all the details, he ultimately decided to take a pay cut and make certain that all the employees had a minimum of $70,000 salary, minimum. And his colleagues across the country were like, have you lost your mind? That's ridiculous. Your business is going to go out. And the major pundits were on television and on news programs, et cetera, talk shows saying the business is going to go down. Guess what happened? And I know you know where I'm going to go. His business just skyrocketed. They're all doing extremely well. He changed his mindset. He leveraged the new information he got. He's in his own world thinking everything's wonderful. He hadn't done the due diligence, listening to his employee. But not only that, the employees, because they valued the company and its mission, now they felt more valued. They invested more deeply and ensured the overwhelming success of that, continued success of that business.
What was the name of that? I heard that story before. Who was that?
I have to find his name. I'm sorry.
But I remember, now I'm thinking that it was like, and yeah, that's a true story.
This is recent. Well, everything I'm telling you is true.
Yeah.
I know, listen, even though it may sound remarkable.
I don't know how much more you have. I mean, this is, my whole desk is filled with Post-its. And I'm glad that I recorded this.
Well, let me stop. I have more, but I want to allow for questions. Well,
maybe you could come back again. But here's the thing. This is, and I didn't know you were such a fan of the science of getting. Now I know why we connected so well. That book changed my life.
Ah,
I'll never forget. It was like, wait a second, there's more than enough for everybody.
yes,
I,
that's it.
there's a, and I
Yes.
actually got a tattoo, Prosperity and Abundance, because I read that book.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing, and here's the teaching thing that I want everybody to understand here. This is a lot of stuff. You go deep. It's, it's quantum physics. It's amazing. But what you did, what I saw, and this is why I wanted to bring you on, you put this into play, because what you did with your podcast, that Live Live thing, and my jaw dropped when you were like, I just decided to do it. And we worked out, and that's what I see entrepreneurs do all the time. My coach, Larry Broughton, he's like, I just get an idea and I'll figure out the details later.
Let me tell you something. This is important for people to hear. The best goal to have, and no exaggeration, the best goal to have is a goal where you don't know the how. If you know the how, you're not going to be as inspired. You're not going to actually do as much work, and you're not likely to find it of great value at the end of the day. And so many people leave a project where they know the how. People stick with a project where they don't know the how, and it's so intertwined with their fantasy dream life, whatever that is, having an impact globally. I mean, how do you do that? That's the genius. And so as relates to the Lead Life podcast, someone that I've introduced you to, Roy, wonderful man, Roy Robles, he just picked up the phone and called me and said, I'm working on this and I'm learning this new tool. Would you be interested in just doing a broadcast? I said, sure. I believe when someone asks you something, the wiring should be to say yes. Okay? And even if you don't know, and that's the powerful. So my wiring, when someone asks me, I say yes, and I figure out the details later. And it may be not what they need me to do, but it's what works for me that I learn about. And I don't say yes to 100%, but I say yes to probably 99%. And my family and friends can tell you that. And it always works because I have decided what I want. And so the yeses is life itself, the universe itself giving me what I need, even when I don't understand it. So if you're
Would you mind? I'm sorry, would you mind if I shared your podcast screen?
Oh, please, please.
So people could see what I've seen. I think you have to stop sharing.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then I'd like to see if anybody has any questions. This is a lot more than what I expected, to be honest with you. And I hope, I'm gonna watch the recording here. But what Dr. Webb did was, so I just want people to see the sequence here. This wasn't even really her idea, I thought. It sounds like it was Roy's. And
well,
let
me add something to it, a piece you don't know. So 2 years ago, I decided I was going to do a broadcast. I had no idea what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. I left the idea. Last year, I have a client who's in Canada. And Eileen said, you need to be on television. You need to be broadcasting this worldwide. People need to hear you. I said, oh, okay, at some point. And then Roy, not knowing that history, comes to me. Go ahead, Roy. Joe. He didn't know that history.
No, but this is what I'm trying to show people, that like the science of getting rich. It's like you put it out there to the universe, and the universe conspires to make it happen with all these, little coincidences. And I want to call out Dr. Flo here, because she is basically doing exactly the formula that you just gave us.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, hopefully we have some time, because I'd like to share some of the things that Dr. Flo just put up yesterday. And it's just another example of what you can do when you just say, I'm doing it.
Can I add one thing before we go to Dr. Flo? Because I want people to get key books. I mean, I can go on, but this one I want you to get. U squared. U squared by Dr. Price Pritchett, based upon research. Here's the deal, and people live it. I have a brother that lives this extremely well. You are you. You have the capacity. Each one of us is a you. We have the capacity to do X, yet we can do X squared. We can do X to the fourth power. There's infinite level of exponential impact that we can make. The key thing is how we show up. So if we want to create X, we don't have to do it alone. And the reason why I've been successful to date, even when I didn't know it, people were helping me. Even when I was that little girl who was a throwaway child from people's actual statements, I was being aided by the universe. So no one of us, I don't care where we're at, in a small village, in a bustling city, in an urban setting, in a suburb, I don't care where we're at, even homeless, we are not alone. Okay.
Thank you. That was awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Webb? Anyone? Nothing?
How do we get in
Well,
touch with you, Dr. Webb?
yes.
Would you put
You
that in the
can reach
chat?
me, yes, you can reach me directly at 510-817-4840. That's my Signature Solutions corporate results line. And of course, you can check my email address, ELNORATENA@signaturesolutionscr.com. You're welcome to contact me directly. And then, of course, I have a website. I'm going to type it in chat so that it can be revealed for you. Okay? And
Awesome.
the website is being updated. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Webb.
You're welcome.
I'm going to stop the recording now because I don't want to do the whole mastermind thing because I'm going to make fun of people and I don't want it recorded. So I'm stopping the recording. Thank you,
And
Dr.
then we'll
Webb.
make fun of you.
Yes, it goes both ways.